cars, 1927. It took us probably about 2 years to get here, but right now we feel like we have some of the best cigars on the market. And if you give us a chance, you'll find out.
All right. And we are live. Welcome, family, to another show. Hope all is well with you guys. First and foremost, I want to apologize, man. Right now, I cannot cam up. The screen was just a little too blurry. So we're going to have to just roll off the cuff today with the images. All right, family? And also apologize for the delay. We had a little construction going on in the building. So I had to delay it because I didn't want you guys to be, hindered with the drilling in the background. But nonetheless, we have a really good show for you guys today, man. A lot of stuff going on in the news, a lot of stuff going on in the Black Manosphere. We're going to discuss that, man. Give a shout out to who's all in the chat right now. I got Azrael the Daywalker. Salute to you, Azrael. We got IBE. That's my man right there. What's going on, IBE? We got Shay Star in the building. He was first in the building. That's what's up. On Trapman says, who's traveling this year? I'm pretty sure a lot of cats are traveling this year despite the pandemic. All right, Mr. GG's in the room. What's going on, Mr. GG's? We got Bert Ross in the building. He says, good evening, brothers. Good evening, bro. How's everything with you? Delano Music. What's going on, bro? What's good with you? We got Rihanna in the building. That's what's up. That's what's up. There we go. Good point. Good point. We're going to get to that, too. Says Cash talking about pookie while I'm talking Portuguese, but you don't hear me though. That's what's up. To the bone, to the bone. All right, we got everybody in the building. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So what's going on in the news? Let's see what's going on in the news right here, man. We got a lot of stuff going on right now. Now, when I first saw this story, family, I assume that this was trolling. I had no idea this was actually true. Let me pull this up real quick for the fam. Hold on. I had no idea that this story right here was true, family. What do y'all think of this right here? Biden administration to spend $30 million on crack pipes to promote racial equity. What is going on with that? Now, when I first heard this, I was like, okay, somebody making troll. This must be fake news. It's been headline people saying it's, he's trolling black people with the crack pipes, or he's trying to help with the white opioid epidemic. It's just a real strange headliner. Now, I did read up into it. They were saying that it was a couple of things that goes along with it. I think drug safety kits, all types of stuff, safety needles. And I'm sitting here like, aren't you promoting drug use? What is really going on in the Matrix right now, where you sitting here pretty much somewhat justifying people using hard drugs? What do you have in store for the people if you are promoting, basically, in a nutshell, drug use, which is $30 million? Now, I do understand that he might have a personal reason, and $30 million isn't technically a lot of money in concerns of the United States as far as, granting a grant for the pretty much the whole country. I understand that his son has a problem with crack, so it might have been something personal. But I just thought it was very interesting that you would do all this stuff and you give money head over fist at everything, but black men, but black people, right? We can't expect any type of grants for us, but it's all good. But I just thought that was really interesting. Let me see what the Prodigy says. PhD in Portuguese. The Prodigy, you must be down here now. He said, seeing some things here in Brazil that makes me want to get my PhD in Portuguese immediately. Yes, most definitely, man. Most definitely. I tell you guys, man, you really, really, have to learn the language, man, because when you pull out that translator on that phone, that beautiful woman's face is kind of goes down. It goes from a smile to a like, he don't speak Portuguese. It's not as easy as moving around Colombia where they are excited to learn English per se. Portuguese, I ain't gonna say it's the most hardest language, but it's a little more difficult than Spanish. But if you already know some Spanish, then Portuguese will be a whole lot easier for you. All right. Tyrone Bigham has entered the chat. Yeah, Damon Walton, he did sign off on that crime bill back in the day that had a lot to do with a lot of mass incarceration for the black community. Damon Walton says, ill drugs is going to lock people up. Fala Portuguese, muito necessário. Right on, go with paper. That's very true. I think with Brazil, like sometimes you have to learn language a different way. I've been listening to a lot of the music here. They got some really dope fink music or funk music here. You find the videos with the titles in them, with the words in them. That helps me a whole lot more than, let's say, studying vocabulary like I did in Espanol. So the music, since I feel like with Portuguese, man, it's such a rhythmic like language. Like it's almost sound like when they're talking, especially the women, it's almost like they're singing to you to a certain degree when they really get into the gist of their language, when they really, really conversating with you. So the music helps me out a whole lot. All right, so this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to get to that. Now, let's start from the beginning, family. Let's start from the beginning of the controversy. Now, this is where it all started. And I'm going to get to that trailer in a second. I'm going to get to that trailer in a minute. But this is where it all started. Now, if you've been under a rock lately, you will realize that there has been somewhat of a tear in the black manosphere. All right. Guys going back and forth, certain YouTubers going back and forth. I'm not going to say any particular names because I'm not into that. But guys going back and forth, man, on, almost the direction of the black manosphere. And a lot of guys have had, some falling outs to a certain degree. First and foremost, you got to understand that, people are unique, right? We're all different. And now what you have is what you always have when you have a community. You have different sectors of the black manosphere. I'm in the travel sector. I'm in what they call the passport bro sector or whatnot, right? Then you got your red pill sector. You got your PUA coach sector. You got different sectors of the manosphere. You got your pro-black sector. So you got different sectors. Now, before I get started on this, I want to say that the message that the black manosphere overall, I think we can all be in agreement of the message. Let me go ahead and pull this up. Hold on. Let me pull this up for the family. There we go. We can all be on agreement on what the message of the black manosphere. I think the black manosphere has helped a whole lot of lives, in particular black men. When I first got hold of the black manosphere, it was a breath of fresh air. Hearing older men, discuss things, not knowing that, the most valuable asset of a community is the men, I would say generally over 35, that can give the younger guys a lot of information and a lot of game. Because when you're young, in your teenage years, in your early 20s, you're just confused for the most part. You don't really understand why the community, why things are the way it is. You don't understand why women act the way they act. It was the black manosphere that kind of broke that down. Plenty of discussions, almost 8-hour long discussions on just pretty much giving the younger fold a little bit game, basically, if you want to say that, game on the community, on why the matriarchy, the gynocracy, hypergamy, all that stuff that kind of can help you deal with why things are the way it is. So the black manosphere is a huge help. And the black manosphere, like a lot of things, has grown. And people have become successful out of the black manosphere, even with the talking points that would go against the general norm of a matriarchal society. And one of those gentlemen is Kevin Samuels, who we have here. Now, I'm sure you guys already know, seen the video. I did a video on this a couple of weeks ago. I'm not going to play it. Well, actually, a couple of days ago. I'm not going to play the video of Kevin Samuels and Nicki Minaj. Now, I'm going to say this. When I critique someone or when I pull out a subject of, what happened with somebody or conversation with somebody, I don't ever attack the actual person. You know what I'm saying? I don't get into that. That's not my dig. We have enough people tearing down black men as So I don't get into the insults of the, going back and forth on a man's character. I'm simply just explaining my take on the situation at hand. In particular, what we're talking about today, the conversation that Kevin Samuels and Nicki Minaj had that spawned this whole somewhat civil war within the Black Manosphere. Now, this is the start. This is the ignition. Now, things had already been talked about and going back and forth within the Black Manosphere before this, but this is the thing that kind of got it back started, right? So Kevin Samuels goes on. I'm gonna catch super chat in a minute. Kevin Samuels goes on to Nicki Minaj's chat room, her live or whatnot, and they have a conversation. Now, a lot of guys were upset that Kevin didn't hold the same, I'm not going to say vitriol, but the same energy. He didn't keep the same energy when he was on Nicki Minaj's live chat. Now, I didn't even know that he was actually on her channel or her Instagram. I thought that she had called into his show. So that right there in my mind made a big difference, because when it's somebody else's show, you definitely want to come in a respectful manner, because, hey, it's their show, it's their Instagram, it's their page, whatnot. I definitely understand how he kind of came in very laid back, right? Now, Nicki definitely showed out, right? She did the whole hood rat thing, the bugging of the eyes, the facial expressions. She was very disrespectful and somewhat of a aggressive, passive aggressive manner, in my opinion. When I saw the video, I was like, yo, Kev, snap on this chick. But Kev held it back, right? Maybe it was because she's a celebrity. Maybe it's because she's worth hundreds of millions of dollars and he's in the fashion industry and he want to maybe do some business with her. For whatever reason, he held back. When she stated, rate me, and you can't say a 7, he told her you can't say anything, but you can't say a 7, and she says 7. That was disrespectful off rip, because he told you don't rate yourself a 7. So she was kind of like poking the bear. She was being, a hood rat, basically disrespectful. And then she had this little commentary while he was on the show about who cares about what these dudes think, who cares, girls, get yourself together. The whole talking point from a lot of independent or miserable women rather. All right. Let me catch a super chat and we're gonna go back to flowing. Salute BMT. Who shot the video on the cigar promo commercial? I would like information on that. Thanks. I shot it, bro. I shot it. Send me an email. Black men in comfort is an old age diversionary tactic, starting with the W.E.B. Du Bois and Booker T. Washington. That's very, very true. Ken Blunt. Yeah, the humble one says she wanted Kevin to keep that same energy, and he didn't. And you know what? I'm gonna keep it $150. I was a little disappointed myself when I saw the video. I was like, yeah, man, the hell with this woman. Who cares if she's a millionaire hood rat? Who gives a damn, right? Get at her. But he didn't, for whatever reason. And I think it was a career move more than anything. So that's Kevin. That's his platform. He's successful in his own right. He has the right to do that. But I think that a lot of guys are disappointed. And they voiced that disappointment, right? They voiced that disappointment. And then you had some guys on the other end that said Kevin Samuels did the right thing. Everything was good on it. He didn't make any mistakes. I think he dropped the ball personally. And then this back and forth came along. The back and forth came along with the whole brought up of, as far as the Pookie and Ray Ray debate, what we're going to talk about today. The Pookie and Ray Ray debate. Now, it concerns of the Pookie and Ray Ray debate that somewhat separated the Black Manosphere. Maybe I want to say close to maybe a year ago, maybe a year and some change ago, when you had these different guys from different backgrounds. We're all from different backgrounds, all different lives, right? Sparking off this debate from, I guess you would say, the intellectuals. Now, in my opinion, my definition of a Pookie and Ray Ray, right? Pookie and Ray Ray is, to me, that is not concerns of your job profession, whether you're blue collar, whether you drive trucks, whether you're accountant. That doesn't make you a Pookie or a Ray Ray as far as doing a blue collar jobs. All right. My definition of a Pookie and Ray Ray, and I think this is where things went wrong with this divisionary thing right here, right? I think a lot of stuff went wrong by not really defining what a Pookie and Ray Ray is. And even if the person did define what it is, it not being communicated across, other channels like this. To me, right? Because you can be a street dude and not be a Pookie and Ray Ray. You feel me? When you're a street dude, all that's saying is you get your money from the street. You're doing illegal activities to obtain your wealth. All right. Now, there's a lot of guys in corporate America that do the same thing. That's making a Pookie and Ray Ray. Pookie and Ray Ray is a dysfunctional black male, basically. Okay. Somebody that's ripping up his community. All right. Leaving women pregnant. Just making a lot of mess. And you can't blame him if women want to procreate with him. So you still can't really blame the Pookie and Ray Ray. But I think this conversation somewhat rose his ugly head again because people were defending Kevin Samuels and somewhat wanted to change the subject. All right. Now I will say this. I want to point this out by the humble one. He says, I agree. Pookie is just an unproductive male. It's just an unproductive male at the end of the day. All right. That's all it is. All right. Let me catch a super chat. Zoe Gutter Telly Wood. Man, that is a hell of a name. I appreciate the $5 super chat. He says, hey, what's good, fam? Can the unvaccinated people come to Brazil? No, they cannot. To answer your question, Thailand is now allowing unvaccinated people to come in through Phuket with quarantine. That is correct. Guys, I'm going to have Travelversity on the show tomorrow. We're just trying to set up a good time. All right. It's going to be in the morning. So this is a big 12-hour difference. He's currently in Thailand. Travelversity is in Thailand, man. So we definitely going to give you guys an update on all the information you need because I know a lot of guys want to go to Thailand. Yes, but he is correct. If you are unvaccinated, you can go, but you have to go through Phuket, and you have to stay in Phuket for 7 days, and you have to take multiple PCR tests as well at a hotel of their choosing, the government's choosing, basically. All right, so you will be quarantined to the island. The cool thing about that is what I'm hearing, and this can be confirmed by Travelversity tomorrow, is there's a lot of good stuff going on in Phuket right now anyway. So even if you're on the island, you still can go move around and have your fun. All right, let me catch this other super chat real quick and we can get the flowing. Shout out to East Coast Kev. Every time I see East Coast Kev, I think it's Kev with the Bitcoin, crypto Kev. Well, stock Kev rather. Shout out to you for the $5 super chat. Someone in the chat said it. Kevin Samuel is playing a long game. Nicki Minaj was a way larger following. Nicki Minaj has a way larger following, and he is on the rise. Now he collabed with Future. Yeah, man. Like I said, I don't make talking points. I just attack people, not attack, but I just discuss people's talking points or their conversations, right? And I just put my perspective on it. I'm not trying to tear Kevin Samuels down or anything like that. But personally, I wasn't disappointed. I think everybody was kind of waiting for him to kind of go off. But like I said, she's a celebrity. He's in the fashion industry. You can do the math, man, And he was on her platform, which I did not know at the time when I saw it. So he came in and he was respectful. And he kind of sugarcoated things a little bit on her. Because I'm sure he wants to work with her. All right. Shout out to Kirby Films. We got the donation. Shout out to Kirby Films. He also donated. We're going to talk about that later on in the show to the BMT mobile app Indiegogo campaign. He says, "What's up, BMT? Looking forward to the app." Yeah, we're gonna really get into that too as well, family. We're gonna get into that too for the show. Now, I want to point something out real quick. And shout out to Kirby Films once again for the super chat. I want to point something out. Let me point something out. Because a lot of people are saying that, oh, man, the Black Manosphere is done. It's getting too much heat, and it went commercial. I want to point something out real quick about the Black Manosphere. And this has been going on for a few years now. I think I saw the first article maybe 3 years ago. I want to point something out real quick. I want to show you guys a few articles. Let me put that up there. One moment. All right. Let me put this up. Black Manosphere displays Black men's sexual rage and frustration. All right. So as you can see, the Black Manosphere has always been under attack. It has always gotten press. Every year, it's an article that comes out about the Black Manosphere. Now, this is propaganda, basically. Black Manosphere displays black men's sexual rage and frustration, just by the title alone. All right. It's very disparaging towards pretty much black men conversating and educating each other on the laws of the land, how to obtain wealth, how to get married, all types of positive things. For them to try to section this out, let you know that the black manosphere has always been demonized. Masculinity in itself is being demonized right now. It's being demonized. Let me show you this other, and I'm going to catch that super chat in a minute. This other article, family, hold on. The Black Manosphere is not an ally to black women. In chat rooms and YouTube channels, black men parrot conservative talking points and bunk social science to demonize black women. All right. That's another disparaging article. Now, this is the thing. Any form of masculinity right now, at this point, is going to be demonized, whether white, black, green, or yellow. All right. If you are in Western society right now, the whole game plan is to demonize masculinity. All right. But to especially target black men as far as destroying the core of the black community. All right. By almost promoting a gender divide amongst black men and black women. And unfortunately, a lot of people have taken the bait. All right. Now we know that when black men and black women come together, we can do awesome things. All right. When you have a strong core, strong community, a strong family, when you have men in the home helping raise their children, raise kids, right? You will have a functioning society, which would change the landscape of that society. You will have less abortions. You will have less young black males going to jail. You will have less young black men killing themselves, killing each other, rather. You would almost not have any major crime. It will almost go back to the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. And when that happens, what comes next? What comes next? Let me ask the chat this. What comes next when you have a strong black family core and you have a strong black community? What happens next? What's the natural progression of a strong black patriarchal community? What's the strong progression? What happens next? Let me ask the chat real quick. We'll get some participation today. Shout out to Chief Stand Up, Too Real. All right, we got one. Not Users Podcast says power. That's what happens next. X say power. That's what happens next. Strong economics. That's what happens next. Less teenage crime. Economic wealth and growth. So basically, we'll start building our own. We'll start having black businesses. What comes next is a black Wall Street, which is what white society, institutional white society, the dominant society really doesn't want. Nobody wants to compete with African Americans, all right? Nobody wants to compete with us. We did something that was unheard of. We did something that was spectacular. We did something that was never done probably in the history of mankind or human, right? We was able to make millions of dollars in our community less than one generation after cattle slavery. This is what happens when you get men into these homes. It's just a natural progression. All right. So the media, the white media per se, the dominant society media, particularly the government, different institutions, have strong stock, all right, in keeping black men and black women divided. And we all know this, but I think more black men know this. I honestly do think that unfortunately, a lot of black women have taken the poison pill. All right. And we have to hold ourselves accountable as men to understand that when you don't control any institutions of wealth or power, you don't control the media, things like this will happen. A lot of your women and children will be under negative programming to go against their own best interests. Even a lot of the men go against their own best interests. All right. We have to hold ourselves accountable too. I just don't want to harp on just the women here, guys. This is pretty much a channel dedicated to black male empowerment through business and travel. But I will have to call a spade a spade. You know, we have to hold ourselves accountable and say, hey, man, unfortunately, until we control some of these institutions, a lot of our women and our children are going to have some type of negative programming. Everything is anti-black family in Western society, family. Everything. When you look at the core of it, feminism is anti-black family. Gangster rap is almost anti-black family. Anything going towards violence and hateful relationships is pretty much anti. I think we need to change the wording right now. Instead of a gender war, we start calling it anti-black family. All right. They want to keep us at the bottom of the economy. All right. This is said by Richard Nixon. Keep them at the bottom of the foot of the economy. Let everybody make the money off their backs as if they're still enslaved. And the way to do this is to keep us dependent on their dollar. Another way to do this is to keep us at each other's throats. Because I'm going to tell you, I'm keeping $1.50 with y'all. Black women are super intelligent. All right. We can definitely say that. We're super intelligent. We're intelligent people. All right. We're intelligent. That's why they got to always tamper with our relationships. So I want to put that out there real quick. Shout out to Shelton Henderson for the $5 super chat. He says, big up, bro. Keep up the great work. I really appreciate that. All right. So yeah, family. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna open up the panel. All right, we're gonna do a little show. We also got another show today. Hopefully, my internet will be a little bit faster and I can cam up. I'm gonna bring a guy on today later on at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time about how to make $250,000 a year in tech. This is a big show. Make sure you guys tune in. All right, make sure you guys tune in. This show right here is going to be at 6 p.m., family. So let me go ahead and drop a link. I want to get your guys' opinions. I'm going to drop a link in the chat. If anybody want to come on, they're welcome to come on. And we're going to talk about the direction of the Black Manosphere. Now, I will say this. If the Black Manosphere wants to really have a voice, an unfiltered voice, you got to understand that we still don't control the platform that we communicate on. So we are still somewhat limited. They have all types of games on how to shadow ban your channel and all that other stuff. I'm not going to really get into it because we're on the platform right now. But you have to understand that the status quo, if you're going against any status quo, and we have pretty much freedom of speech to a certain degree, more so than any other country, really. But as a group of men, we have to understand that when you don't control the platform, there will. All right. Mr. E, come on the channel if you disagree. Come on the channel. I just dropped the link. All Mall says Kev has a great platform, but I don't follow everything he says. Yeah, I don't keep up with it either until something really goes viral. Yeah, I'm currently all the way in here, Brazil, so I try to keep up with more sort of local news or travel news more so. Shout out to Shelton Henderson once again with a $5 super chat. Oliver Worth, he says the good book in Mark points out a house divided against itself cannot stand. Very true. Very good point. Very good point. It's all good, Mr. E. Let me go here real quick. But I will say this. I've been watching different channels and different panels. I see some going back and forth against, some guys that would consider themselves to be street cats. And, I watched a little bit of Dennis Sperling's YouTube channel. And I think the definition has gotten people confused with, like I said earlier in my dialogue. The definition of a Pookie and Ray Ray has got people confused. Now let me see if who's on here. Jason. All right, hold on. All right, Jason, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I sure can. What's going on?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great, man.
Um, I guess the first thing I would say is that, well, what's the topic that we're talking about initially?
We're talking about the future of the manosphere, of the
Oh,
black manosphere.
well, as far as the Black Manosphere is concerned, I think that there's going to be splinter groups formed because
Mm-hmm.
not everybody is, on the same page. You got people who want to travel and go abroad, deal with whatever ethnicity of women they feel as though is their taste because they're done with, the Black community as it is here in the US. And you got Black men who still want to try to make this thing work.
That's very true. That's very true. The funny thing is, I was telling guys to travel get their passports early on in the formation of the black manosphere, right? This was maybe years ago when guys really started taking some traction, start getting different subscribers. And I would go on these panels, man, and I would say, listen, I see what you guys are talking about as far as improving the black community, and I'm in 100% agreement with that. But it needs to be a percentage of us that start to travel and go overseas to try to set seeds in other places, right? And guys would try to run me off the panels. They would always run me off the panels. They'd call me a coward. I'm like, how am I a coward? I'm just giving guys a different option because I said that road you're taking to fix the black community is going to be a very difficult road because you're
Hmm.
looking at it as if it's only one thing. We're going to all get together and we're going to do this and we're going to vote. I said, man, when you in somebody else's backyard, you in somebody else's house that's been established for the last 400 years, and these men have blood in the sand, which means they fought, died along with us as well.
Hmm.
It's going to be difficult. It's anything is possible, but it's going to be
Right.
difficult when you
It's a dual
in concerns of taking over American institutions is what you're talking about.
as it is that are on our
Right.
wavelength that are talking as it is. But there's even farther less Black women I feel that are, who actually want to improve the community. They like it the way it is for the most part. All you have to do is turn on Kevin Samuel's show, and they're pretty much telling you that they don't want to change.
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel as though all you're going to see at this point from here on out in the Black Manosphere is a growing, splintering section of guys leaning more Pan-African Hotep type of talk, and then guys that are, talking about traveling abroad and SYSBM, that kind of stuff.
It's going to be pretty much more diversity. People are going to just stay in a sector for the most part, and their subscriber base is going to go depending on where the guys decide to point their life out. That's what you're
Right. And
saying, basically.
yeah, and I don't think that it has to be a thing where, we're beefing with each other because, you know, some guy over here wants to go to Thailand and mess with an Asian woman, but another guy wants to stay in LA and try to repair stuff. And I don't think it has to be that way. I honestly think that we could still work with each other. There's space for everybody. I think everybody just needs to respect their, perspective crafts and lanes, and we can make this thing happen.
That's the beauty of being American. You have freedom of association, right?
Hmm.
Exactly. I'm going to introduce what's that? Ovion Thomas.
Oh, hold on. Let me rename myself too.
Now, Jason, real quick, what's your definition of a Pookie and Ray Ray? Jason, you there? Okay, we might have lost Jason. Azrael, you You back
Oh,
on?
Jason. Oh
I
yeah, I'm
feel
here. I'm
like
here.
Bruce Wayne right now. Oh man. My definition of Pookie and Ray Ray is someone that's unproductive, someone that's not that's not amicable to the situation of Black people in terms of progressing. See, we like to. I had an issue with this with a couple of other brothers. Like, I'm not hell bent on like crucifying Pookie on the stick or whatnot, because he's just, like I was telling other people, he's a cog in a machine. However, I believe we've over glorified the whole archetype. So you see, this is almost like a dog whistle for a lot of brothers, because people might say, oh, they might hate Pookie, and then there's like some people that like definitively will stand, they want to die on the hill, the proverbial Pookie hill. Meaning, if you bring it up, it's like you have people that the most they ever got in trouble with the law is like selling some weed. It wasn't nothing crazy, but they feel as though they have to embrace, or they have to protect the Pookie archetype, because Kevin Samuels is changing the sphere into men with suits that have hand gestures that are considered effeminate or whatnot. Some people are scared of it. It's like what they say, the fear of the Black planet. People are fear of like the modern Black men changing the image narrative. So my thing is this, like, that people, you got to realize a lot of people have different agendas in this space too. We all might be congruent in believing that Black men should be for the betterment of Black men, but everybody has their different approach on how to go about it, right? So some people feel as though, no, they gotta keep it 100. They can't be amicable in a situation where Kevin Samuel is delaying gratification. People want him to go in for the kill and want him to chop Nicki Minaj off with the proverbial guillotine with facts and data and analytics. That's what differentiates him from Fresh and Fit. He's not gonna go into it. You look at the platform of Fresh and Fit. Not to them, because I listen to some of their stuff sometimes. I'm not the biggest fan, but the whole thing is to regurgitate talking points and talk at women instead of putting in a situation where you could glean from it, and people are expecting him to be aggressive, but I was breaking it down on someone else. I was breaking it down on Citizen Lou's video stream one time. I was like, Kevin said the 48 laws of power, man. The first law is don't outshine the master, and then another law, I think is the fifth law, is don't hide your intentions. People assume, oh, he has to be bold, he has to go out guns blazing. It's like, no, you have to have a level of emotional intelligence to be able to deal with people that are celebrities, because most celebrities have big egos. I don't know why people felt as though he had to come in like a bull in a china shop. That's not how you approach certain things. And it showed a lack of decorum on a lot of Black men's part, that we don't understand how to work a room, so to speak.
Can I add something?
Good point. You know what? When I realized that he was actually on her page or her Instagram, I was like, oh, okay, so that's a different story then. I'm like, okay, I assumed that she had called into his show, which would be like his home. But once I realized that, okay, he's actually in her chat, which I thought was, I'm like, okay, Nicki Minaj chat, all right. If a man is there in Nicki Minaj chat, that's a fashion guy, then I assume that he might want to work with her. So that's probably why he kept it politically safe. Go ahead, Jason.
Oh, I honestly don't even think that he should have even been on her show, to be honest with you. I think that was more so for promotion on his part, because if we're supposed to be helping Black men and helping them build the Black family back together, what can you gain out of talking with Nicki Minaj? The woman.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Apologies.
Yeah, it's okay. But what can you gain out of talking with Nicki Minaj? This woman is 40, if not pushing 40, and you already know that you're not going to change her mind on anything. This is the same woman who tried to get her pedophile brother out of prison, and Black women still want to champion her. I felt as though that was
isn't her cousin, her recent husband, like a rapist or something?
Apparently that was statutory. Apparently that was some like high school stuff. Like, I'm not even talking about that.
Yeah,
but I'm talking about her brother, who actually held down an 11-year-old girl and raped her, and Black women are still championing for and acting as if none of this ever happened.
But we have a lot of that in our community.
You ever
Unfortunately.
heard the saying politics makes strange bedfellows?
Sure.
I've actually never heard
Probably.
of that. Say that one
Right?
more time.
Politics makes strange bedfellows.
That's the
Meaning
first
that
time I heard it in that
Strange
sense.
bed pillows.
fellows, meaning that when you're trying to get across an agenda, you'll be surprised at who you would have to network with. You know, I mean, there are people don't know, and a lot of the deals that are being made that we don't know about are by people that you would never have an idea, or you wouldn't even fathom them working together, right? So, for example, I'm not sure, I can't substantiate it correctly, but I've heard hints of people saying that Malcolm X tried to organize a deal with the Klan at one point in time, you know.
No, I
Or
heard Elijah
Yeah, Elijah
Muhammad.
Muhammad. Yeah.
yeah. So you know what I'm saying? People, oh, these are two people that are diametrically opposed, right? You Klan on one side, and I don't want to say the Nation of Islam is extreme, but they're on another different differing viewpoints. It's not necessarily nothing moderate. Same thing in politics today. People, people think Democrats hate Republicans, Republicans hate Democrats. When after they literally there's a club in DC or bar that they all go to after they finish the Senate hearings, and that's where most of the deals are all made up, are solidified and cemented. They'll give a big spiel and a filibuster in the Senate hall, and then they'll come together at the bar and be like, "Hey, let's work something out here, so and so, whoop de whoop, this stick it, that thing, and so on and so forth." My point being is that people feel as though he lost his integrity, but people don't understand you have to have a level of emotional intelligence to be able to, what's the word, like swim with the sharks, you know.
Right.
And I'm not. Go ahead.
No, I get what you're saying 100%. That's how politics works. I know about Nation of Islam, the Klan, and all that stuff. And I get that sometimes you're going to have to negotiate with people you don't like or who you don't agree with. But I feel as though the conversations that Black men and Black women are having in general are stuff that shouldn't even really be talked about.
Oh, I absolutely agree with
You know,
that.
it's like why are we even having this discussion? There's so much more going on in the world. Like,
you know, I'm always on social media, and well, not always, I don't say that, but when I'm on social media, I always see this dialogue when it refers to the typical talking points. Who should pay for the first meal? Should women sleep with men on the first date? Who should split the bills? And I'm thinking to myself, it's like it's like sometimes I want to convulse in my mouth because I'm like, oh, here we go again. It's like Black people are still on the remedial stuff. Meanwhile, you got white, you got Asian people worrying about how to set up a trust fund for your children, how to create a certificate of deposit, how to create cryptos for your grandchildren. Like, you know, but what it is, unfortunately, with Black people, we don't even know how to get along. I mean, you know, Obsidian, say what you want about Obsidian, he's controversial as he is, but one point I do agree with him on is that as Black people, we don't know how to get along. So we're really just on
like
relationship for dummies, right?
like
and everybody else is on calculus.
Here's the thing, right? It's like, even with this channel, like last week or earlier this week, I can't remember, they were having a dialogue about crypto versus stock markets, right? Now, I didn't agree with the stock guy at all. I'm in the crypto. You know, I've seen people become successful off crypto. Regardless of whether or not I agreed with that guy, we were actually having an intelligent conversation that would be able to propel our lives forward financially, whether we agreed or not. Now, you go over to the women's side and see what they're talking about. They're still talking about colorism as if it's 1940.
Well, women are gonna, you know, nothing to knock against them,
as if we don't date dark skinned women. Like, it's insane.
But all they're doing is projecting. You know, women are insecure.
They're basically just projecting. I want to welcome Oliver White and On Trackman to the show. You there, On Trackman? You've been there for a minute. Take yourself off mute. On Trackman.
Hey, this is Oliver. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Oliver.
Okay.
On Trackman, you there? I see you just took yourself off mute. All right, Oliver White, what do you have to say about this conversation?
Hey, man, I'm new to all of this. This is the first time I've ever done this. But let me say, when you know, I'm 50 and I grew up on the west side of Chicago, and what I've encountered really is not, I have an issue with sisters. Don't get me wrong. You know, nobody's perfect, but I've encountered a lot of craziness amongst Black men. You know, the thing when I was growing up in my 20s, in 30s coming out of the military or growing up on that side of town. I used to debate with brothers about whether the military was the place for a black man, but yet they were lining up to go to the penitentiary. And this is the stuff that I encountered. And then there was on the other end of the spectrum, it was those brothers that were going to college, and I'm a blue collar brother, so they didn't have time for me, you know. So I was always in the middle, and my argument or my debate or my whatever always is with black men, because I've always wanted to be a man, you know. I've always strove to be a man, you know. That's my goal. And I hear the brothers. I agree with them. You know, there's more than one way to wealth. You know, crypto, real estate, the stock market, entrepreneurship, all of that. And I came across Kevin and the Black Manosphere by, I guess, accident. When I used YouTube, it was mainly for the purpose on how to break down my 40 caliber and how to clean my pistol and how to, you know, replace a part in my vehicle. I've never used YouTube up until probably a year or so ago for the purposes of entertainment in terms of the Black Manosphere. Now, it was always a given between me and my military brothers. I'm a Navy man. We knew about travel. I didn't have to go to the Manosphere or YouTube to find out that black men were traveling. This was something that, you know, I was aware of, and it frustrated me because I couldn't find any brothers who wanted to travel outside of the west side of Chicago with me, actually. And again, those college educated brothers weren't in the same area that me, you know, the blue collar brother had always been in. So I respect what Kevin is doing. I don't agree with everything that any man say. You know, my grandfather raised me. He put a roof over my head, food in my stomach, and clothes on my back. But I disagree with him. You know, for those who believe in Christ, when he was on the cross, he even questioned God. So I question everything. I have disagreements and agreements with every man. I think brothers need to be a little bit more unified and don't let women or anybody else divide us, because what I've seen amongst black men is keep your hands off my wife, you know, keep your hands off my girlfriends. And where I grew up and what I've seen in my 50 years is a lot of brothers I've encountered that. I'm just talking about me anecdotally. I'm just saying what I've seen and what I've encountered. You know, why would you put your hands on my little sister when I've asked you, you know, not to disrespect my little sister? See, these are some of the things I've seen with black men. Exactly, brother. If we learn how to respect, first of all, ourselves and learn how to respect each other and don't go outside of that code, like my man was talking about what Asians do and what whites do. Trust me, man, I'm a Navy guy. I'm sorry if I'm sounding redundant, but I've been around white folks. I've dated Puerto Ricans and I've been around Puerto Rican folks. I've dated Mexican women and I've been around Mexican women, and they have a code. They have a code that they don't cross. It seems like with us though, man, we don't even like ourselves. So it's very easy. A lot of us, not all of us, a lot of us don't even like ourselves. So it's very easy for us to not like each other. We don't even have respect for ourselves. So it's very easy for us to have a lack of respect for each other. We don't have a code amongst black men, like from the 60s going back. Coming into the 70s, it's like, I'm going to be a pimp and I'm going to pimp your little sister out. I'm going to be a crack dealer and I'm going to sell crack to your mama. Come on, man. That's where I think the problems are.
No, that's definitely true. Definitely facts, man. That's why on this channel,
I'm sorry. What were you saying?
Hold on, Jason. Hold on for a minute. Hold on for Jason. We lost a few guys. Guys, come back in the chat. I don't know why I just dropped off.
Sorry if I got too emotional, fellas.
Hold on. My bad. No, you didn't. Let me see this. We just lost a couple other guys, but let me add Azrael back to the stream.
Yeah, thank you. I wonder what happened to drop me.
There we go.
Yeah. But I just want to respond to Oliver Wright. No, you're definitely true. Let me put Xavier on mute real quick. Welcome to the show in a moment. Hold on. All right. I just want to respond to that. And this is what this channel is about. This channel is about holding each other accountable. I talk about that all the time because we're demanding respect from our women, which is natural. Right. You know, we want respect from our women, but we also have to understand what position they're in as well, as we not owning some of the most of the businesses, the majority of businesses in our own neighborhoods, as we're not controlling the major institutions of our communities. I mean, everywhere they go, on top of them working for another group of men, they work for white men. The majority work for white men. So we have to sharpen ourselves, steel sharpen steel, and this is what this channel is all about. Now, in most cases, in my opinion, you know, and this is just my opinion, things are in America are concrete. The community, it is what it is. 9 times out of 10, it's going to take a lot of things to happen for us to fix what's going on in our communities, right?
It's by design.
It's by design. It's been by design for 400-500 years. Things are set, and it's a superpower. You know, we're just not in just a random third world country backyard where we can do a military coup. You know, in some of these other countries, they can take over the government and boom, we back on. It's not going to work like that in America. All right. It's number one superpower in the world next to China and Russia. So
we have to fall madly in love. We have to, in my opinion, we have to fall madly in love with ourselves. Simple as that. Everybody, as you said, if people come into the community, brother, you have your Arab brothers, your Asian brothers and sisters. You have these people that are coming to the community, and I'm not going to call them particularly because of who they are, bloodsuckers, if you will. Some people would say they'll draw off the community, man, and then you'll go in there, you'll open up that beauty supply, and you know that sister won't even come in there and patronize you, or you know you can't get your politicians to give you the same financial benefits as they do foreigners coming over to the country that may not have to pay certain business taxes or may not have to pay certain federal taxes because they're refugees and things of this sort, you know.
They can undercut you because they can get cheaper prices.
Exactly, and they can get breaks where, and then those of us who know, the sad part, another thing I've noticed is the sad part is, as a veteran, I had to get a lot of information from other veterans. I could not get information from the VA, the very department where I'm supposed to be able to get information. I had to go to the veterans who had went through the battlefield, if you will. Well, we go through the battlefields, and I'm going to be the only Negro on my job, or I'm going to be the only Negro with a business in the Black community because I have this. A lot of us, what I've seen, if I give another Black man or another, I'm not even talking about sisters. If I give another Black man information on how to get this program on how to become a painter, or if I give another Black man the information on how they giving out grant money to become a truck driver free of charge simply because you're underemployed or unemployed, we don't want to give each other that information, man. But yet that Arab brother come in here and he'll help his brother or the next Arab guy. It appears again, my observation, hand over foot. It's like
and you know what? I don't want to interrupt you, but Oliver White,
I'm sorry.
That's very true. But I do recognize. I used to say the same thing before I started traveling seriously. I used to say the same thing, right? But we can do this exact same thing. Like when you go to Medellin, you will see that Black men working together, starting businesses because culture and language bonds you. Right. Yeah. And then when you get more people from your culture coming over to that city, you're going to naturally put them on because you identify with them. I want to welcome Xavier onto the show. Xavier, you there?
Greetings in B1 family. Salute to everybody. Can you hear me?
B1.
Salute. Right. What's going on, brother?
All right. Just listening. I mean, Aaron, you said it all at the opening of the broadcast. You said it all, and it's factual when you mentioned about Nicki Minaj, when you mentioned about our brothers traveling together. You said through travel and business. So that was definitely a good point that you brought up. So yeah, you definitely summarized it. Brothers are breaking down the details. But I did want to answer the question when you said, what's your definition or what's his definition of a Pookie and Ray Ray?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to say I don't want to submit to those terms and labeling other brothers that simply because a Pookie and a Ray Ray and a Nicki Minaj is an invention of white supremacy, the ongoing propaganda war. So it's enough of obviously, like you said before, white media that's downplaying us. A lot of white media that's degrading us with their foot on our necks. So I don't use the terms pookie and ray ray. I just heard that term about a year ago or so. Not even, I think a little over a year. The term pookie and ray ray, and I'm just like, what is? I don't even want to like call or even label another black person that, given the fact that we have what we've been through, the slaveries and the atrocities that followed. So,
See,
I mean, perhaps you do have people with off-code behavior that exist out there, and yes, they need to be addressed. But simply labeling somebody that, it's like, okay, when do a Pookie and Ray Ray graduate from being a Pookie and Ray Ray? I mean, who are you to actually, determine whether that person is not a Pookie or a Ray Ray anymore? To a black millionaire who looks at somebody that makes $100,000 a year, he might just say, hey, that guy, to him, that's a Pookie and Ray Ray because he's not producing millions of dollars like I did. So these are the things that perhaps would cause like a divide, especially in labeling people. And also, like when you said that together, black women and black men, we can do some very some very
Amazing
successful
things.
things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Most definitely. On track, man. Are you there now?
You want to? I was gonna say I wanted to add on to his point, but if you wanted to read the super chat first, Aaron.
All right. Shout out to East Coast Kev for a $10 super chat. He says, in my 20s, I was a black militant and didn't want to join the white man's army. LOL. If I knew then what I know now, I would have joined, at least to travel. Thanks to that brother for his service. He's mentioning that to you, Oliver White. But go ahead.
So I agree with Xavier, but I feel like I disagree with him at the same time. I feel like we're conflating 2 points. Yes, the Pookie is a stigma, but I believe at the same time there is a catalyst for that stigma. We black people do play into the stigma. For example, we have the bed wench, we have the mammy, where we have the step and fetch it. Those are caricatures that we're using against us, right? However, at the same time, a lot of us play into it. So, for example, I give a prime example. I spoke on it on a couple of other people's panels. My grandfather has 25 kids, right? My great grandfather, actually. To this day, I don't know what in the world he did for a living. I've asked other people, and then they tell me, oh, he just was doing his thing. Like, no one could give me a concrete answer of what he did, right? That's an example of being a Pookie, because he was a man that was non-productive. He contributed nothing to black society, if we're going to be keeping 100. And he was an example to be looked at in terms of black masculinity. Someone can use his image and say, hey, these black people are no good. I mean, we're not warranting or justifying what other people might think of us, but that in of itself is not good. Like, we have to be able to control our image. And I think in a way, the whole educated lame versus the Pookie thing, more so like the educated lames are taking the position as like the white cells that are just attacking the proverbial body that is the black community. Feel like I have to get rid of this stigma or this trope, right? So people might think, oh, it's extreme, we're going against each other. But some people feel like, nah, we gotta wipe the slate clean. My position is this: I believe you have to be proactive in control. Collectively, black men just have to be proactive in controlling our own image. And we're more so with brothers in the space where we're at an impasse, because some people feel as though, no, we need to embrace who we are. Forget it. We need to embrace being black, and a part of being black is the good and the bad is considered Pookie. And some people are like, no, we need to elevate our image and we need to improve so that we can be a better representation of what we want to communicate to the world. But I just feel as though at the end of the day, you got to just do what's best for you. Because at this point, I feel like a lot of people are virtue signaling as well. Some people are saying, "Oh,
what does that mean?"
What do you mean?
I'm sorry. I'm just like lost. I'm an old man. You know what I'm saying?
No.
I'm 50.
What you mean?
What does virtual? Yeah. What does the word define? What that terms mean? I mean, define what that terms mean in general. I mean, because I've heard it before, but I've
almost like when you say a person uses dog whistles to clam at people's emotions. So people might, you understand. So for example, Fox News, people might say Fox News virtue signals to make people have prejudice against immigrants. You
Okay,
understand?
okay. I
That's
got you.
yeah.
Appreciate it.
So what? No problem. Anytime. What I mean by virtue signaling is that a lot of people in the space would say, "Oh, who's a better lover, Pookie or Educated Lame, or men that read books on sex are better lovers, or men that are sure." It's more so a calling card to say, to put out something to attract a certain narrative that they are the better person without. It's like inadvertently saying something without saying it. You know what I mean?
Got you.
It's like if I say to you, people in their car that I don't know if you're of Islamic faith, but people in cars that are older men, they do well with women. That's like, okay, you're virtue signaling in
Got you.
in that. So that's why I just wanted to say, I believe we need to we need to stop that.
Good point. Xavier, do you want to respond to that before I get to Branjour?
Really, I have it's kind of long-winded, so he covered a whole area of things as far as that. But I was responding to somebody in the chat saying I'm caping for Pookie, and I wanted to say I'm not caping for Pookie. I'm simply Pookie and Ray Ray, nor am I caping for Nicki Minaj. I'm just saying that these are the inventions of white supremacy. A Pookie is an invention of white supremacy. Nicki Minaj is an invention of white supremacy, along with the other, what's in it, Cardi B and whoever, Meg the Horse. I mean, and I'm not caping for them. And I'm the first one to say, hey, Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, Meg the Horse, they're more dangerous to young black girls than R. Kelly will ever be, or anyone else that they try to label, putting black men as the face of sexual predation, Bill Cosby, and things of that nature will ever be. So I'm not caping for anyone. I'm just saying that they're inventions of white supremacy.
I'm laughing at Mr. E says Pookie was an idea of Chris Rock. That was much more than that. Branjour, what's going on? Branjour around the world in the building. What's going on, bro?
Hey, not much, man. I'm glad you put me in the panel. Thank you for everybody being here. No, I don't got that much to say, man. I'm just astounded by everything everybody's saying. I don't know. I just think we as black people, we're in our own lane right now. We're in charge of our own destiny right now. This is the only time in our lifetime that we're able to be millionaires. If you take your butt out, your head out your butt, you'll be able to be a millionaire, basically based on stocks and just Bitcoins or anything of that nature. So we're riding our own wave right now. So we're in a great position right now to be leaders and scholars and everything else. So I tend to just deal with people that are positive. For me, if you know me, I'm a positive person. I deal with people in positive things. If I find that you're in a negative space, I just let you be and I go right past you. So in that sense, I tend to just I'm a wishful person. I just hope that we all take advantage of what's going on. I mean, we're living in an era right now that we all could be millionaires by another 3, 4, 5 years. If we educate ourselves to the stock market, crypto, and just put ourselves in the right place.
Land.
What you said?
Land. I'm with you. Yeah, land, real estate, that crypto. I dig that newfangled stuff. But man, everybody gotta have land, baby. I ain't tripping on you. I'm with you with the crypto and the Bitcoin. But I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Forgive me, brother.
No. I'm there with you because right now I'm looking at some land in Santo Domingo because I think we could do a lot of things in these areas. I'm looking at some land in Santo Domingo to build a Airbnb. I mean, I think for $50,000 you could build a 3-storage house and get like 12 to 15 units and build an Airbnb. But what I'm trying to understand is there is a lot of Pookie and Ray Rays out there. But the weird thing is, it's just like a wave. It rises all ships. So if you're not in the position to make that purchase or look at what's going on, you're going to be swept. You're going to be underwater. So my thing is, man, just let's enjoy yourself. I love your show. I love black men are doing great things. I love listening to black people. And I'm not trying to be long-winded. I'm going to get off that real quick. But 4 years ago, I got divorced. And when I got divorced, I told my wife that I wanted to go and listen to black men speak. And she told me, no, you don't need that. You don't need that. And now when I look at the internet, a whole bunch of black men are speaking, and they're speaking very eloquently and very straight to the heart. to your heart, and like Samuel, Kevin Samuel, and a whole other people.
Yeah.
They're speaking a space that we didn't have before. 4 years ago, I was hungry for this and I didn't have it. Now that I want it, I can find it anywhere. And you could cherry pick your information, but at the end of the day, I'm glad that we even have the information to be cherry picked. So I'm proud of us, man. I am when I look at the direction where Black men are going, I am like, wow, thank God we're here. Because for the longest, females told us that our voice didn't count, that voice wasn't nothing, and we believed them. And now we're in a space that we actually making a difference, man. So I'm thankful.
Amen.
That's good point.
Can I add something?
Go ahead, Jason.
Okay. I agree with everything he's saying, you know, and I think that it's also important that we open up a space for our women to join us if they those who I'm not talking about on the panel, you know what I mean? I'm not talking about coming in. I'm just saying bringing them along in general.
Hold on, Bridger.
I'm with you. They've dominated spaces long enough, man.
I'm not talking about no. I don't
we
mean
opened up
the
we opened up the barbershops for them, and look what happened. That used to be our domain.
No, I don't
mean Oliver, hold on. You guys hold
I'm
on.
sorry. Yes, sir.
No. I don't mean letting them in on the panels and all that other stuff. I'm just talking about when it comes to doing business, transactions, sharing information. I don't see a problem with that. But as far as the general, I understand that 80% of them are just a lost cause. I get it. But the ones who are valuable, the ones who are malleable, I don't see a problem with working with, you know?
I agree. Never see a problem working with sisters. I never see a problem working with sisters.
Because the only issue that I would have is that they will mute us. They have a tendency not to listen to us and over talk us and don't want to listen to us. And for some reason, some I'm not saying all men, but some men go along with the program. And that's why I love Kevin Samuel and people of that nature, because they tell them, hey, look, we have a sense of worth. And if you want to be on our program, please understand. We are made as men. We always told us that our value is basically on our worth, and we have to create our worth. And that means I'm 50 years old. I've just become a six-figure. Well, I've been a six-figure man for 6 years. So I just became a six-figure man. I'm uncomfortable with it. I make enough money that I could run my own show. So it feels good to have somebody who let them know that, look, if you want to get on the men's program, it's a good thing. But if you want to run your thing, you want to be independent, you want to be head of the show, you want to be 50-50. It's not working in today's society, because as men, we get muted by women who just assume that they could overpower us, tell us what to do, and at the same time, the court system is always going to validate their point of view. So anytime you bring a female into your area, they're always going to try to take over, because that's just how they are. And if you bring two or more, they're always going to stick up for themselves. So I'm glad that as men are sticking together and understanding that we have self-worth, and our self-worth is based upon our hard work and the years of dedication of being who we are. So
I want to say something real quick. Everybody ever heard of the saying, the teacher will appear when the student is ready? Anybody ever heard of that saying?
I've heard of something like that.
Yes, I've heard of it. I've heard of it.
Yeah, so let's compare that to, for example, someone like Neo, right? When did Neo? It took between Morpheus and Neo. It took Neo had to come of his own volition to be outside of the matrix, correct? He had to be able to decipher what is real, what is not real, and he had to make that decision on his own. The same applies to these women. You know, we set the platform and stage, but the goal or the agenda is not to congregate and to gather up as many as we can, like it's a missionary. If they see that what we're doing and what we're trying to create is appropriate and they would want to get on board, then fine. But I don't believe in trying to save every last person, every last woman. You know, you understand what I mean?
I mean, it's some truth to what you're saying. It's some truth. Like it will be a percentage, but you will also have a percentage of women that will try to destroy and take it down as well, because it will remind them of, you know, a patriarchy, and a lot of women are not comfortable with that. I want to welcome the CP show. Are you there?
Yes, sir. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good. What's on your mind?
I want to say, first of all, I appreciate what you do. It's so much needed, and I'm sure you get a lot of despisement from different people. because they really do not want to see any type of strong black men doing anything constructive.
Right.
That's just the way it is on that. This system is very evil. It's been like that for generations. Now, I don't know what the other brothers feel about the word white supremacy. I don't like using the word personally myself, because then to me that distracts from other cultures that have just as much despisement for strong black men as numbers of personnel within a Padana-based culture. And so a lot of times they get a free pass on that. And so how many of them have written on the coattails of strong black men? And so I think that also needs to be addressed in itself, because when we say white supremacy is a very old word. It's not even new. And so there are people with a Padana-based culture, and there are other people who love when we say that white supremacy without any context. So my thing about it is, now I might be totally wrong, and I like to hear what some other brothers say, if they agree or not. But like on some of the different podcasts I do on my little podcast thing, I say this, that black folks overall, the American blacks overall, only have about half a generation to one generation left. That's my opinion from my observation.
Yeah, they said the black wealth will be about zero by 2053. There's a report out that I was gonna say there's a report out. I forgot what it's called, black wealth transfer, something like that. But so to summarize, it's saying that the black wealth will be zero by 2053, and that's more so because a lot of the wealth, along with other factors, of course, as black people, we're not the most functional group of people socially, but along with the fact that a lot of the white or non-white people's wealth is calcified already. Most of the wealth, whatever remaining 1% we have, is going to be zero by 2053.
No, I don't see that.
Yeah, I shared that study in the group. But I wanted to clarify what you just said. Is that the CP show?
Yes, sir.
That very last statement you said about, was that what you were talking about as far as the black wealth?
Well,
we have one more generation.
Just overall on that, we have about half a generation to one generation left. You say, what do you mean by that? But if I may ask, like, let's go with the black businesses concept, right? Well, let's look at this realistically. Now, there's been a nonsensical part against black business for a long time, right? Just like black banks, they are de-evolving left and right by purpose. Well, when I say we have half a generation, one generation left, I have to look at this logical analysis, because the last great, black businesses, for people who don't know, is at the bottom of the list of numbers of people from Padana-based culture and two other different various other cultures. We are at the bottom of the list of black businesses. Now, that does not mean that we do not sit there and try to go toward and get our businesses. But see, my question is, there is no other culture on this planet, especially this culture, says they have to say buy black in comparison to their culture. No one does that. Now, that's not to take anything from anybody else, but no one else has the same type of hatred and despisement and economic depravity and economic business situation, social destruction as American black. Without the American black in this system, there will be a lot of black business wouldn't even exist. The system knows this. So that's why I have to say that we only have half a generation and one generation left. This system does not care about black business. It's irrelevant. I would just say this. I'm telling you from personal experience, when I've sit there and seen certain type of businesses, and they are being bought, strip malls, areas of land are being bought by other cultures under the most nonsensical, dastard, demonic category of people of color and minorities. I refuse to believe that on that. Even when we talk about the Afro-Latinos, Afro-Asiatic, are some of the most people that are still getting ostracized racially. That's a fact. Because I do quite a lot of studying. It's not about individuals. It is a collective. So I have to look at, when we say black businesses, I'm saying we are at the bottom of the list. We've been talking about this for a long time. And I'm saying it's going to come down to individuals that have a like mind. So does that answer your question, big guy?
Yeah.
Why is that? I'm sorry. May I?
I'd like to interject.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, Xavier.
Okay, you said a mouthful, but the system of white supremacy is real. The system of white supremacy does exist. And the mere fact that you're describing the underclass businesses of black people, of black businesses that exist, is a direct result of that, of the system of white supremacy that we live in. White supremacists do exist. White supremacist groups do exist online and elsewhere in society. So when I use the term white supremacy, that's because it's a fact. Now, when you talk about black businesses in terms like buy black and things of that nature, those terms definitely go back to somewhat after Reconstruction, when given the fact that there was segregation. And again, when you look at the sports, how you had Negro leagues, you had this, black people had to establish things because black people were not allowed to be a part of society. So when you had Negro leagues or black sports franchise, you actually had that because they didn't allow black people in it. When you have black colleges, that's because black people were not allowed into American universities that were founded by slavery, by the way, which slaves were donated to most of these universities, especially your major ones to start, including Harvard. So when we use terms like black businesses, when we use the terms like white supremacy, that's because it's real.
Might I add something to that if you don't mind?
Please do.
No, I'm just saying for myself personally, I refuse to use it because when we say white supremacy, again, that negates other people from their responsibilities. I'm not saying that, there are sometimes when some people talking about, Neely Fuller and some other different people that maybe utilize the word a little bit more constructive. I'm saying when it's like people of color. Now, what is people of color?
Garbage.
Garbage.
That's
right?
garbage.
So somebody can just arrive in this country 10 years ago, have a little bit of melanation in their skin color, and they will be called people of color. And I'm saying what I know directly.
And we go for it. We go for it.
And I have some shows I've done on my little podcast on that nonsense they play with us. So when we talk about black businesses, I'm sorry, brother, somebody was talking.
I'm sorry.
No, you were talking. Go ahead, brother.
No, I'm with this. Like I said, I'm 50, and I've listened to some of the old heads from back in the day, and I don't play this people of color crap. Don't refer to me. This is just me personally. Don't refer to me as a person of color because to me, you don't see me. I stand on blackness. What is black? Well, whatever you want to be, African American, colored, people of color, cool. That's your thing. But when you do documents for me, when I go to the VA and someone writes African American, I correct them on that. That's just my personal deal. Blackness is the universe. The most powerful source there is in the universe is called a black hole. This thing attracts everything to it. It's so powerful. So yeah, I want, for my own edification, I want that level of self-power, the power of a black hole, the power to dominate someone sexually. When you put a black man with any other race of people, you alter and you actually strengthen that. So why wouldn't you want to? But everybody doesn't. That's fine with me.
I'm not understanding. I'm trying to understand you. What do you mean? Because I didn't hear when you go in front of the VA, you subscribe to as what? Black American, Afro American. I don't follow black. But we're not.
If you look at documents, okay, you are not. You can say what you're not, but you can't say what I'm not. When I go to,
I'm not following. Not following.
I understand. So when someone asked me, when you just asked me, when you said we are not black, okay.
I never said we're not black. I never said that. But go ahead.
I thought I just heard you say we are not black.
No, I didn't understand what you meant by you are not black. I'm not understanding.
No, I am black. I am black. That's what I say. I don't go by African American, even though I understand what you're about to say.
I'm trying to understand what you're trying to say. What you mean by you're not black? Black is such a infinite question. I mean, what do you mean by black? You mean that you are Afro-American, Afro-Latino, you're Jamaican? What do you mean by black? I'm not understanding what black means in your world.
Black is universal. Black is universal. I didn't. If you would let me explain, you will understand. Because I heard you say what I said. I'm not. My point is, here's the deal. I think that we should again get a code as black men. as African American men, as Afro Latino, whatever you want to say. You can't get on a code, in my opinion, if you're going to divide yourself by saying I'm Afro Latino, I'm African American. I understand you're not following me. Maybe the other people on the panel are following me.
I do.
You know, I understand if you're not following me, and I'm sorry if you're not following me.
I'm trying to understand what you mean.
Okay.
I'm trying to understand what you mean by black. I'm trying to understand because
you're not. I don't think you are.
No, I'm trying to understand because I'm really not understand. I'm trying to understand. So all of us are black. We just came to different countries, right? We went to different countries, but we all black. So if
actually, we came from the same country. We didn't come from different countries. I'm sorry, forgive me. We came from the same continent. We came from the same continent. We may have been dropped off. We may have either migrated. We may have migrated or either been dropped off because some of us we were moving around this earth before slavery. So some of us may have chosen to go other places. But when we went to these other places or when we were taken to these other places, we were still from an original source. And I myself personally see that other source as being black. The soil, the land, the color of the people. You may say brown. You look at me, man. I'm lighter than you. So, but I still consider myself a black man, come from the rich, deep soil of Black Africa, my ancestors, ancient Egypt, and then it even goes bigger. It even goes bigger than that. It even goes bigger than that.
Do you speak the language? Do you speak the tongue? Do you know the culture? So, because you're saying that you recognize yourself as a black person coming from Africa, but do you speak the language? Do you know where you're from? Do you know the culture? Because a person without a culture is lost. So I'm trying to understand what you mean by black. You mean a black person who's in this country who doesn't know their root, doesn't know where they're from? Because if I was to ask you where you from, because initially I said what country you from, because Africa has 54 countries. Africa is a continent, and then you couldn't give me a precise. Then you went back to Africa, the countries. So that's what I'm trying to. I'm trying to get to your root because you're saying you're black, but when I'm going to ask a question. Where in Africa are you from? And I'm pretty sure I'm going to get a diverse question from you. It's going to be very watered down. So, and then you speak the language. Do you know the culture? So if you don't know your roots and your source, still, how could you put yourself? You just give me a general that you're black, but where you from in Africa? If you're African, I'm going to ask you direct question. And I want to where in Africa
hey, we can travel. All right, I know we're going to get off the course. I'm not even going to answer that.
No, because
I'm for us
people
traveling.
Identify what they're going to identify with, Brazier.
No.
Right, I'm for us traveling.
No. The reason I'm saying this because I'm Afro-Latino, right? I'm born and raised in Panama. So when you speak about African, and I know that in Panama we have African people that speak only African language and dialect. So when you speak about black, then I want to know if you're talking about your black, then how do you trace your roots? Because if you don't know where you're from and you don't know the culture and you don't know exactly where you're from, you can't be connected to something you're not from, you're not connected to. So if you're talking if you just saying something just out of saying that I'm black, then I want to know, are you connected to it or just saying something that I'm black? Because if you're not connected to it, if you're not connected to the language,
go
ahead.
Hold on.
See, again, off code. Off code. This is the point I was making. Off code.
No, I'm trying to get a little more because my thing is this.
Hold on.
Like I go to all different countries and I do the Afro. I go to Colombia, Venezuela, Panama, Costa Rica, and I listen to all the black people in those countries, and I listen to them, and I listen to the dialect, and I know there's a group of people in Panama that only speak a dialect of African. I know that if you get to Cologne, and that way they speak only the African dialect. So I've been to these countries, and I listen to black people who speak in their native tongue that refuse to be oppressed. But I'm trying to find out from you because I've gone to those countries and I'm a historian of black history. So when you speak, I want to know a little more detail. Do you speak any of these languages and you're connected to the culture to be black?
You know he doesn't speak African language.
I don't know anything about it.
Interject?
I don't know anything about
it. Go ahead, Xavier.
Brent, that's a fairly unfair question that you asked. The victims, people, we were captured people long before Africa was broken up into countries. It wasn't until a conference of 1882, that's the Berlin Conference of 1882, white European superpowers sat together and they've decided to break up Africa.
Yes, I
Now,
remember.
if you know your history like you say you do,
I
in
do.
1555, the first slave boat, or first boat of African people were brought over to the shores of what we now know as the United States of America. So
Well,
prior to Africa even, hold on, prior
Mexico.
to Africa even being labeled the different countries that they are, names like Niger, those are made up names by the French. Nigeria, that's a made up name by the British. Do your research, you're supposed to know that. So you asking people who are victims who've been captured, brought over, enslaved for 400 years, and the atrocities that followed, their language have been stolen from them, their names have been stolen from them, their religion have been stolen from them, so on and so forth. And now you're sitting here pressuring the
Right.
guy with 5 minutes of filibustering, asking him, do you know your culture? Do you know
No,
language?
no, that's not what I said. No,
So that's an unfair question that you're asking.
No.
You're asking that, and you're basically pointing the finger at victims, and you cannot victim shame here.
But we all
Please don't do
victim,
that.
Right.
In your scenario,
Code.
victim. In your scenario,
Code.
victim. What I said was he proclaimed himself to be black.
That's right, and I have a right to do so just because you proclaimed yourself to be you proclaimed yourself to be Afro-Latino, and I did not challenge that. I respect.
No, but that's what I am. That's what
I was. Okay, cool,
that's
fine. That's what you are, and I didn't challenge it. And I didn't challenge it.
I'm trying to learn.
But what are you trying to learn? Something that's irrelevant to what we're talking about right now. We're talking about staying on code as black men.
No,
regardless to where in this world we are at, we need to develop a code of conduct. Right now, we should develop a code of conduct where I respect you for saying that you're Afro-Latino. So respect me for saying I'm black, regardless to why I'm saying I'm black. Respect that that's how I want to see myself, and that's how I want you to see me. Just like I would say to you, I respect the fact that you're Afro-Latino. So whenever I come to a Latin country, if I run into you in person, I want to draw from both your blackness that we both have in common and the fact that you're Latino, and I want to draw from that. So when I come back to the west side of Chicago, I know based on meeting you how to interact with people that I may run into here that's Afro-Latino. I'm not asking you to define that or go into details of why you're calling yourself that merely because you may have been born in a Latin country. There are white people born in Africa who call themselves African, but their skin is white as white. So I'm not challenging that. I'm saying let's stay on code as black men. Again, if I tell you I'm married to this woman, keep your hands off my wife. If you tell me not to exploit, your little sister, then I should respect you as a black man and not exploit your little sister. If I open up a corner store, I would say I would want sisters who spend 80% of the money in our culture and the black race. Sisters spend a huge amount of money. I'm saying, listen, come shop with me, buy a car from my from my dealership. Yes, simply because I am your brother, and I am going to put that money back into the community instead of taking it over to that man and spending it with him. Come get your hair cut with me instead of going to get your hair cut by this other man down the street, because I'm going to take that money and spend it with that black landlord. I'm going to take that money and put it into a black school that's going to educate black children properly. Dr. Claude Anderson has been trying to teach us this from an economic standpoint for the last 30 years. That's all I listen to this gentleman because I know I can find travel sites on YouTube by the other people. But I particularly subscribe to him for the main reason that he's a black man. We may disagree on going to Brazil. We may disagree on going to Europe. But I'm going to holler at my brother first and see what he has to say. I'm going to go to a black dentist first. I'm going to go to a black primary care physician. I'm going to try to get my hair cut at the black barbershop first. Until they prove themselves not worthy of my dollar, then I'll go somewhere else. But I'm on code. That's what I mean when I say I'm black, sir.
Might I ask some, BMT?
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Relating to the show about the future of the Manosphere. See,
appreciate that, man. I want to get back on that.
No. Well, this makes the point as well. See, that's where what I call the demonic version of feminism. They love it to see different black folks from different areas go at each other.
Yeah, this is mild, and this is what's been going on
Th-
for a while. But this is
Right,
mild.
but they love this. Even though I can see what Brandier is talking about and the other gentleman. See the point. See the problem is that see again. I don't use the word white supremacy. I was saying that's just me. I use the word supremacy because again, I'm getting to a point because different women are different. I go and I listen to different other part of the podcast. Different women of different cultures, different continents, different places in the Caribbean. They are all becoming on code a one feminism code. They don't
Mhm.
like black males at all, period. Be it Caribbean black, be it Native black, Aboriginal black, continental Caroline black,
They don't
American
like
black.
black. They don't like black male authority, bro. In
It
general.
does not
Right.
exactly. They do not care at all. So the point is, like the gentleman saying, code. There's a certain code. When he brought up Dr. Claude Anderson, that for me as well. When he relayed so early part of 2000 that we're going to a permanent underclass, et cetera, et cetera. Well, that was early part of 2000s. Well, for me, I'm just adding my own little thing, saying half a generation to one generation left because I see it coming. Watch what happened a little bit because the demonic version of feminism does not care. Dr. Claude Anderson, he's up in age himself, and he's been talking. He's been talking about this forever, and we are still arguing over different things. Primarily, first and foremost, it is man, then woman. Has nothing to do with who's better than another. Doesn't matter if you Afro Latino. Doesn't mean you're from Nigeria, Ghana, Guinea-Bissau. Doesn't matter if you're from whatever country or continent. There is a hierarchy, not a better, but a hierarchy. And America has some of the highest depression rates for a lot of educated women. This country has some of the highest divorce rates overall by women educated. We don't have to believe it. It's irrelevant on that. It is what it is going to happen. When he said Dr. Clark relayed before his passing, when he was talking about how the American black male. See, sometimes we keep forgetting this. See, it's not American black males going to other different cultures around this planet trying to sit there and convince everybody else. More people are coming to America from different countries to see what the American black person is doing. When Doc See, it doesn't matter if someone disagrees. We talking about white supremacy. I hope y'all don't use. They already know this.
Mm-hmm.
They already know. They don't care what you do. I think, oh, I'm Afro Latino. So what? If I want some Afro Asiatics, supremacists say, I don't care, boy, girl.
Right.
They say you go to my.
I'm not understanding.
Yeah, well, of course you don't understand. But let me throw some out complimentary to you. No, let me throw some out to you, complimentary to you. I would give mad respect to any type of American black, Afro Latino, whatever that speaks Spanish,
Mm-hmm.
because my personal opinion, whatever black form we want to call it, that knowing another language and learning an instrument to me should be primary purposes that most black males should be, especially youth, should know. Because like Brangier, hold on, let me finish Brangier. Look, if you go somewhere in Russia, you go somewhere in some Asia country, they don't care what language you speak. They only see black.
No, I beg to differ though.
No. Well, let me finish what I'm
okay,
saying.
guys, hold on. Okay, hold on, guys. Before we get too cross up in the tangent, I want to catch the super chat real quick by On Trackman. With $20 super chat, he says, "What is the Black Manosphere?" And On Trackman, I'm not sure what was wrong with your audio, man. I want you to come on the panel. The Black Manosphere basically is a group of black YouTubers who all speak similar talking points against westernized culture, right? So, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end the show. I got another show coming up in about an hour, so I want to get ready for that.
It was
I'm gonna
great.
get everybody's talking points. I'm gonna let you go last, Branger, because I know you you feeding at the mic right there. So I'm gonna go from right to left, starting with you, Xavier. Xavier, you got any
Yes.
last points before you go?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I'm glad that brothers are actually on the panel. I'm glad that brothers from different walks of life, different areas of black society, Branshore in particular, coming from where you're coming from. And I'm glad that the viewpoints do collide. I like the points that brothers brought up about how the system of white supremacy turned black females against us or got us, at odds, or at least that's what it seems. I'm definitely thankful for all the insight that brothers have brought to the group. So thank you, family.
Appreciate you coming on, Xavier. All right, Oliver White, your last thoughts.
Hey, thank you, brother, for having me. I became aware of. I didn't even know it was called the Black Manosphere. Just somehow Kevin came up on my feed, and I've been listening to him. And most of what I've heard from him and other brothers in the Manosphere, I've pretty much known because I am up there middle age. I take from these brothers what is the meat, if you will, and I spit out the bone again because I hit Kevin, O'Shea Duke Jackson. Then you came in the algorithm, and I've been listening to your channel. I want to thank you for having me on, and I think it's getting stronger. If the brothers stay solid in this quote unquote, it's called Black Manosphere. If the brothers stay solid, it's a good. It's a good. I would point it out to younger brothers and other brothers who are not aware of it. There's some good information on it. I hope it only gets stronger. I hope it only improves. And again, even with your channel, I had did a little traveling, not a lot, so I was familiar with traveling, and you've only enhanced that. And I want you to keep up the good work. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you coming on, man. Shout out to George Woods with a $5 super chat. He says salute to all. Appreciate that super chat, George Woods. All right, the CP show. Last thoughts.
Appreciate it, big guy, for allowing me to come on, and I appreciate the panel. And I appreciate very much what BMT does, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of hatred from a lot of dozen other people, because it's probably one of the strongest type of black man travels out there, and they cannot stand it on that. That's just regardless. So again, I appreciate what you do. Appreciate the brothers of the panel, and black man empowerment.
That's what's up, man. Appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
All right, Branjour, you have the floor. You've been waiting patiently to go off. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead. I'm gonna give you full screen.
I appreciate all the brothers coming along. I think we are strong together. I think it's a good thing we all come in. I just want to learn. When he said about the brothers, I just want to learn. I really appreciate you having the forum that you have and allowing us to come in and giving us thoughts. And that's it, man. At the end of the day, I want to know other people's point of view and opinions. And if I need to challenge them, I will, because I want to open my parameters, and I just want to learn more. It doesn't mean I'm challenging them just to be oblivious to what they're saying. I want to actually learn from. And we got some rich brothers here that are teaching me. So when I asked you, I really want to learn your point of view. I'm not saying it just to I don't care what you're saying. I really want to learn your point of view. So thank you for the forum that you've given us, BMT. And that's it, man. I really appreciate these brothers coming along and enriching my life with their understanding and their knowledge.
All right, man. Appreciate everybody coming on. This is a good discussion, man. Till next time. Peace.
Peace.
Peace and be one, family.
How do you get out of here?